But I, as a pediatrician, am particularly excited to have parents here because I learned something many years ago from a physician that I worked with who actually was a partner of mine. My very first job out of residency, I worked with a pediatrician who was probably, I thought, very old at that time. He's just a few years older than I am now. And after he threatened to kick me out of the practice because I was doing so many tests on my kids and he was caring for my kids, he said, if you run any more tests on your kids, I'm not going to take care of them anymore. And you can't even work here anymore. But because, you know, we mothers worry just a little bit, and when you know all the things that can go wrong with your kids, the first few that come out, you're spend a lot of money doing a whole lot of tests. But anyway, this man taught me something that I hung on to for many years. And he said to me, if you really want to help kids, help their parents. And he said, and if a mom brings her child into you and she says something's wrong with that baby, you better find out what that is before she leaves the room. Because moms know their kids. And I've practiced pediatrics for quite a long time now. I haven't always written and been speaking. And a lot of times I go around and I talk to kids. One of the most fun things I talk to teenagers about is sex. So they love it when I come in there because I answer all their questions. We talk. Believe it or not, though, what I talk to them about is putting the brakes on. Because that's a whole nother lecture for another day, but the problems that are out there with their kids. And I did that for a while, but I thought, you know, can I really help these kids? I come in and then I'm gone and I can get them all, you know, excited and committed and make, you know, how long is that going to last? But if I really want to affect change in a kid's life, I really need to talk to mom and dad. And I want to tell you a secret about my Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters book. I started writing because I was very upset about the sexualization of our kids at very early ages. And I was very upset about that because even in Traverse City, which is the cherry capital of the nation, you think, well, teenagers don't have sex in the cherry capital of the nation, right? I mean, life is just too nice and easy up there. That's for city kids, right? Who are in Chicago, New York, and that kind of thing. They're the only ones that get into trouble. And I was so upset about it, and I started, you know, I brought information out to parents about all the bad things that can happen to kids when they start having sex at 12 and 13 and 14, the least of which is pregnancy. But kids don't know that you can get cancer and you can actually die from having sex, that kind of thing. And I was really tired of fighting with the CDC, and I testified at congressional hearings. I said, you know what, you're teaching kids about sex and you're expecting them to be sexually active and you're just putting band-aids on them. You need to tell them the whole story. And I really was feeling like I wasn't getting through. And then I had an idea. I said, this is what I'm going to do. If I really want to keep a little girl, a 14, 15-year-old girl, at the back seat of her boyfriend's car, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some things down about the bad things that can have consequences that can happen from that, and I'm going to tell her dad. And I tucked it inside my book, Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, and you know what? It became a bestseller. Because when you tap into a parent's natural instincts and you act on your instinct, life is good with you and your kids. But the problem for you, and the reason you're here tonight, I imagine, is you aren't parenting out of your instincts. You are feeling far more peer pressure than your kids are feeling. That's why I wrote 10 Habits of Happy Mothers, because I was finding out that mothers are so stressed today, far more than when my kids were little. And my oldest is 29, my youngest is 20. You have so much on your plate and you feel pressures I never felt. But today, it's far worse for young moms. And I'm going to talk about that tomorrow when I talk about some of the moms. The list of what you believe you need to do and be for your kids is way out of control and has taken all the joy out of your parenting.